Okay, let's go right into questions. Who wants to start? Brendan.
Coach, defensively, another strong performance. What did you kind of see out of that group that worked well?
I thought those guys communicated really well. I thought Jesse put together a good plan. I think these guys executed the plan and communicated well. We knew we'd have to slide at times. Obviously, Knobloch's as good a midi as we've seen, and you can't get you can't get too prideful. Like, you just got to be ready to go to them, and we've kind of had to do that for the last couple of years. So I think the guys had a good plan for it, and give Eric Serement and their staff credit. We were sliding, and Knobloch, man, give him credit, like, just being unselfish. He only had one goal, but he had 2 hockey assists they knew we were going to slide, and they threw it to the backside and got a couple. So I thought the guys did a nice job. And when we had breakdowns, I mean, if you can get 15 saves, like, obviously that helps. So I thought Logan, that was his best game so far.
Just following up on that, Logan looked, like you said, it looked like his best game so far, but he looked really comfortable out of the cage. He pushed it a couple times. He was sliding up to Ross at X a couple times. Just talking about what you're seeing from him. Does it feel like he's maybe fully recovered now or something?
I think so. I think he's gotten more comfortable each week. I know for me, first goalie I've had tear an ACL, so I'm not really sure, mentally and physically, what that's like. He's had a really good attitude. I think at times he doesn't say it, he doesn't really show it, but I think he's been a little frustrated because his standard is so high. I think anybody would be that way, but it hasn't changed his approach to practice. And so I'm hopeful that, if he continues to obviously just keep moving in that direction, that's going to be big for us going forward. We're going to need that.
Daniel, just a few different roles this season. Just how have you been able to stay ready, and just how well were you able to connect with the offense today?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a little bit different this year, bouncing back from attack to midfield, but it's a team sport. You do anything the team needs, and that's where they needed me the past couple of games, was down on attack, and I'll be ready for anything. But I mean, my teammates make it easy. It's an offense that we all flow together. Nobody has the ball in their stick too long, so it makes it easy to jump in at any spot and play.
Jackson, welcome to Maryland. Did you get what you were looking for in coming to College Park?
I got everything and more that I could have asked for coming here. It's been the best decision I've made coming here, and I think just thankful that the coaching staff brought me in. It's been the best experience, everything I've wanted and more. There's not many schools where you can come in and really try and work for a championship every single year, and that's the standard here, and we're going to try and keep that up, because we always talk about the standard is the standard.
Can you talk about your group with Will Schaller, Burlace, and of course Zapp?
Yeah, no, I think it's been a great this year, just being able to play 4 guys. Like, it really takes a load off anyone, like, trying to play a full game and just stay fresh the whole game. So I think that's been a big help this year as the defense settled in. I think beginning of the year, it took some kinks figuring it out, but now we're trying to get in the flow of everything, and we really get a good groove of just how we're playing as a team together.
So not only was Dan really catching a lot and really producing well today, but it seemed like every time Ryan Syracuse got the ball, something good was happening, drawing doubles, moving the ball. Talk about his development, his emergence, and the confidence he's playing with, Coach or Dan.
Oh, go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, Cuse is a kid that he works really hard. He's a versatile player. It didn't necessarily come easy to him right when he got here, but he kept working, kept working, and you're seeing it this year. I mean, he's having an awesome year, and he's been a steady player. He's been consistent for us. Each and every game, he comes out ready to go, and like you said, he's drawing doubles, making the simple play, and it's fun to play with him because he really does make it easy to be primarily off the ball. You know what he's doing, and you know what you're going to get every game, especially this year, so he's been great so far.
Dan, just from a perspective of, like you said, you played a couple of roles on the offense.
Yeah.
You guys have had a tendency, you guys can look like a different offense quarter to quarter, first and third. You guys only manage one, and you get those flurries, big flurries, a really nice second quarter, and obviously a pull away at the end. What do you feel like is the discrepancies when you guys are firing really well and when you guys are struggling a little bit?
We're trying to figure that out ourselves, but it depends on how the game's going. I think for us, we feed off of momentum and energy, but I think for us also spacing is huge. At times, we're not spaced properly, and it makes it hard. But when we get our spacing down, we seem to be clicking, and you saw that a little bit in the quarters where we produce more.
On the sequence where you get the goal, Syracuse goal, and a quick goal from Luke on the face-off. Given how hard it was to establish any kind of cushion today, was that, I don't want to say a relief or anything, but did it give you guys a little bit of wiggle room?
Yeah, it certainly kind of felt like, it was so hard to score, getting 2 in a row, you're kind of like, and I think it energized us, you know what I mean? The guys like, all right, because it had been such a struggle, and in the league, it's kind of been that way too. It seems like every game's been that way. So to get to double digits in the league, I don't think anybody got there last week, but yeah, you get those 2 in a row, and then all of a sudden everybody's kind of energized. I thought the crowd got energized. I thought the crowd was great tonight. They were terrific, and nothing was easy. And again, I think Brian does such a good job. Kind of gone under the radar. They replaced basically that whole defense and their goalie and their face-off guy. And man, big win last week. They were battling this week. They've done an awesome job with a lot of new parts. But we kind of tell the guys it's like divisional football. You know each other well. It's going to be hard, and just embrace it like it is what it is, and enjoy the competition, and just keep grinding, and hopefully good things will happen.
Jackson, when Logan has a game like he had tonight defending the cage, how much confidence does that build for you in front of him, knowing that maybe if you guys let something up, that you feel confident he's going to be able to defend the cage?
Oh, I mean, it's the best thing ever. Having a goalie that can make saves like that. There's times where you just put your hands up and you're like, that's a great save. And it's good to have a guy like that on our team doing that for us. It really builds confidence for everyone knowing that we can give up the shots that we're trying to. He's going to make those saves, and it really we try and stack stops, and Logue's making a save or picking off a pass. It really makes the difference in some of those games.
It seemed like as the game went on defensively, you guys got hot, and I know Jack McDonald looked like a ground ball machine, and so did the rest of you. Is that something that catches fire, or is that something you were particularly looking for this week?
Yeah, no, I think it's something you just settle into the games with. As Logue starts making saves, and then as we're picking up ground balls, it kind of just builds momentum, and those plays stack on each other. So it's really easy to continue that momentum and just trying to make plays that way.
Coach, you guys are not getting any breaks with the goalies you're facing. Another really good game for their goalie that stole it was really impressive. How do you prepare your guys for all these difficult goalies that they're going to play week in, week out?
Certainly we try to give them it's tricky with goalies how much you want to give the guys, because you don't want them overthinking it. But you also look at what he did last week, right? And did such a good job against Michigan that you certainly want to make aware the guys, kind of what you're facing. Certainly Carden, I've done a number of different events and worked with him and seen him. He's terrific. He's great. He's a great kid, and he's a really good goalie. I'm not surprised at how well he's done. He's big. He's got great technique. He's got kind of a unique technique as well. So a little like kind of the Syracuse kid, Will Mark, is very different, but he's terrific. And in a way, it's a bit of a challenge because they're kind of non-conventional, and that can give you problems. So you try to walk that fine line of not having the guys overthink it, but you also want to prepare it, and it's a slippery slope sometimes for sure.
I know it's not the most important thing at the moment, but to be able to clinch a bye into the semifinals, having played in that first game last year, how valuable from experience is it? Basically?
Yeah, I think huge. The league is so good, and I probably haven't done our guys a lot of favors with our schedule. We haven't had a lot of off weeks. It's something we sell, but better than anybody, when you get to the end of the season, you're trying to not only get your team, you're playing good teams because that's just Maryland. It's what we do. We also sell the guys on that. It's something they get excited about, but I do believe those games get you prepared. They get you better. And the league is such a grind right now that after 5 weeks, to be able to kind of catch your breath, the mental part to me is just as important as the physical part. And so to be able to kind of, look and go, all right, we got a really tough week of prep against a great team coming up next Saturday. But man, after that, knowing that, all right, we maybe could catch our breath, go back to some different things, give them a little bit of break, but work on some fundamentals, work on some other things, kind of leading up to that's huge. And listen, there's no easy games, like it doesn't matter. Like you could shake up our league and throw any of those 6 teams out there. Like it's not going to be easy for anybody. So I think this year more than any year, I think it'll be huge.
So Dan, what do you tell Jackson on your right there about what to expect for next week? First time in at Homewood, playing in the rivalry. What do you tell the newer players about what next week's going to be? How do you get in that mindset?
Yeah, I mean, we know what's at stake for us. I mean, Jackson knows as well. We talk about it a lot. We try not to make it bigger than it is, but it's a rivalry, and we love that. It's a game that's circled on our calendar every year, and Jax knows. I mean, we've talked about it a good amount, but it's a game, There's a lot at stake, but at the same time, you don't want to make it bigger than it is.
And what do you expect to see out there?
Like you said, it's just another game, but this is why you go to Maryland, to play in games like this, to play Hopkins, probably the biggest rivalry in college lacrosse, at least in my opinion, and to be able to play in that game and just hopefully, just play as best as we can, come out with a win is what we're expecting.
Yeah, and they're playing as well as anybody this year, so be a big challenge.
Well, it's every big game comes up, we got to ask, when's it actually become Hopkins week for you and the team?
I don't know. We kind of don't want to change what we do. Saturday night, it's nice for these guys. They've been sitting around all day. So for them to go see their families and spend some time with them and enjoy tonight with each other, I think is super important. Tomorrow is their day. Like families in town, they can go to breakfast with them and then just kind of get away from lacrosse. I think that's huge with guys. And then Monday, we'll get back into, kind of breaking down what happened tonight, things that we can get better, things that we can clean up. And obviously the coaches will start, breaking down this film and then start working on, Hopkins tomorrow night. We can watch them play. With the way the league works, the team at the end, you're gonna have some crossover games, by the end, like you're watching all of the Rutgers games, so there's some crossover when you're watching teams. You're starting to get to a feel. So whoever you play last, you've seen, probably the most, just because you're watching all those league games, and a lot of them take on a similar feel to a certain extent. So they're great. A lot of veteran guys. The coaches have done a good job. They've done an awesome job in the portal. So they're super talented. They have a really good season. So we're gonna have a good week of prep, and obviously work hard every day to try to get better and get ready.
John, no Maltz tonight. Just any update on his status?
No, and some people ask. I don't think I can talk about what his status is, whether it's physical or mental or any of that. But couldn't go tonight. Obviously, we'll reevaluate it on Monday. I don't think we've seen the end of him. I don't. But that'll obviously be the doctors and trainers, their decision. So I'm optimistic. But they'll tell us what he can and can't do. So I'm hoping it happens. Danny's done such a good job for us for 5 years. So keeping my fingers crossed for sure.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.